Hey everybody, welcome to Meet Me Thursday on the Innovative Business Networkers Facebook group. I am joined today by good friend, fellow colleague, and most importantly, fellow Celtics fanatic, Chris Littlefield. Chris, how's it going, buddy?
George, it's going well. Thank you, sir. Looking forward to getting the NBA back in gear and to this conversation. It's a pleasure to see you. It's been a while.
Great to see you too. We can't start talking about the Celtics because that's all we'll talk about for the
It would be a rather focused conversation.
So we'll kind of move that to the end after the meeting.
Sounds good.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. Like, how far do you want me to go back? So at the dawn of time, so I grew up in Vermont, came to Boston in the early 90s, worked for a biotech manufacturing firm as my first job out of school, got my MBA at Babson College, and worked a couple different jobs before actually jumping into business ownership in 2010. I for many years thought about doing it and had never done it and decided, well, there would be no better time to do it than now. So I began to search into different types of businesses and found home care. At the time I was looking, both of my parents were aging. And so the concept of being able to help folks stay in their homes as long as possible resonated with me. I researched a variety of different options and figured that since I have no medical background, that a franchise with all the support that entails would be a good option. And so I chose Brightstar in 2010 and connived my lovely better half, Sarah, into joining me in that venture for the first 6 years. She has since gone on to become the director of a teenage girls camp. But she and I opened the business in October of 2010 and have coming up on completion of 10 years in the business. So what appealed to us about Brightstar was the ability to offer services across the spectrum in ways that other franchises did not. So we offer nursing services where many private home care agencies do not. It's been kind of a wild ride the last 10 years. We've been able to help out a lot of folks and provide job opportunities for our employees, and it's been an exciting run, culminating in the pandemic. But every day.
How has the pandemic been for you and your business? I imagine not easy.
It's been challenging. The first few weeks were a little bit of a roller coaster, and from mid-March to mid-April. We've stabilized now a little bit. We've got a really strong nurse manager, Melissa, who really helped us define how we were going to best and most safely serve our clients with as little exposure to infection as possible. We have probably lost 25 to 30% of our caregivers that we started with due to either losing childcare or being exposed to the infection, to the virus, or simply choosing to stay safe and stay home until this blows over. But we have Lisa Furtado, our director of ops. She has been a master at recruiting, so we've managed to build back our business pretty much to where it was before we started. It's still complicated and it's hard to do things, but there are many businesses who are worse off than us, so we can't complain.
What would you say makes Brightstar unique? What differentiates you from other home care providers?
The eternal question: what home care providers and how are we different? A couple things. I think that the offer, as I mentioned before, the nursing piece. Even other home care agencies will call us if they have a private nursing need, because there aren't many organizations that do that. And the home care, the Medicare home care agencies that offer nursing don't offer it in the private realm. So that's been a nice little niche for us. We also have Joint Commission accreditation, which, as Lisa describes it, is kind of like the nursing home and hospital housekeeping, the good seal of homemaking or something. So it provides a level of oversight on our procedures and processes that would not otherwise exist unless you're a Medicare certified agency overseen by Medicare. So I think those two things are really the areas that differentiate us a little bit.
And we talked about it a little bit, really more focused on staff, but how is business today? Has business rebounded? Are you close to where you were before the pandemic? I know there's a number of challenges that you're probably dealing with.
We are close to where we were in terms of overall business. It is, however, much more expensive to do business now. Our costs to provide care have gone up, both in terms of what we need to pay our caregivers. They are, if for lack of a better term, our product, and they understand that they are a highly valued commodity in this pandemic world. The value that we offer to them is that we are COVID-free, so none of our patients have COVID, so they're not working in a COVID environment. They're working in a one-to-one environment, usually in folks' homes, and we have done our very best to hold our patients and our caregivers to a one-to-one relationship. So whereas prior to the pandemic, you would see caregivers moving from case to case or working with multiple cases, in this world where you want to limit the spread of infection as much as possible, we've isolated both the patients and the caregivers. We were also only taking on new cases if we have both the staff to do so safely and also the protective gear, the PPE. And that has also been a significant challenge for us, in particular isolation gowns. So to give context, isolation gowns, we never even used them before. You could purchase them for like a pack of 10 for $5. Now one isolation gown, which is a single-use item, you use it for one shift, now costs $6 to $8 per gown. And if you need to have them at every shift, it just significantly changes our cost structure. So we are taking on new cases cautiously, and we're saying no where we can't serve. So it's a little bit of a balance.
Okay. What do you do before COVID, or maybe more interestingly now? What are the types of things that you do to generate business and to grow the business?
So before, my clinical sales specialist, Wendy, would literally travel from building to building and visit her network of referral sources. And we would also be involved in networking meetings. We also have, through Brightstar, access to national contracts, so we can establish a contract for nursing services or care for folks who have long-term care insurance policies through that venue. So it's a combination of literally feet on the street, meeting people and gaining their trust and hoping for referrals, and then delivering on those referrals, and the national accounts, the national contracts provided by Brightstar. Currently, we are working less closely with assisted living organizations who are fairly tight within the pandemic world. They're not letting a lot of people in or out, and working more with rehabilitation hospitals, such as Encompass, for example, in Woburn and Beverly, because now there's a desire for folks to go directly home rather than to rehab, given the impact of the pandemic in the skilled nursing arena. So, and how dangerous that's been.
All right, we'll switch to some more personal questions as opposed to business focus.
Right.
You've kind of jumped around. You had the corporate job to start, and then you became a business owner. And what would you say the biggest attribute to your success is?
A willingness to know what I don't know, which is and a willingness to take the lessons learned from prior career stops to the next one. So manufacturing instrumentation, biotech instrumentation is different than high volume plastics manufacturer, which is different than essentially limo supply chain management, for lack of a better term, or limo logistics, to this. And there are different aspects that apply. So it's been helpful to have a little bit of range across different environments. It's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none type of thing, and to provide different perspectives. So I think that's probably been my single most transferable thing, or single thing most unique to what I bring to the table.
If someone were starting out in business today, what's the one piece of advice you would give them?
Have more money on hand than you think you need, because you're always going to spend more.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, that's a great answer.
Right. These white hairs that you see, a lot of them came from not having enough money when I started the business.
All right. So these are two questions that I love. I talk about them in every interview. So if you had completely unlimited resources, and we can talk both professionally and personally, you can do anything at all that you wanted to do, what would it be?
Oh, George, I would buy an NBA team. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
That's like, there's stages, right? There's millionaire and then there's billionaire. And if I was a billionaire, I would look to own an NBA team. I think that would
all right. I want you to know that if that were to happen, I am available for the GM position.
Done.
We already know we work well together. We have the same kind of basketball mind. We're right there.
This is a recorded call, is it not?
It is.
This serves as the agreement, and hopefully vice versa.
Absolutely.
So I would happily serve.
Definitely. And Chris, what is your superpower?
Sarah?
Also a good answer.
Good answer. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Chris, if I had to answer that for you,
yes,
knowing you as I do,
right,
you are one. I don't consider myself a people person at all.
Okay.
Even just upon, I knew Sarah before you and I knew each other. Upon meeting you the first time, I've always felt so comfortable in your presence. You really do have a kind of a calming personality, and I think it's maybe your best attribute.
You are very kind. It's funny. It goes both ways. You and I just hit it off, since the beginning. So thank you. That's very kind. I appreciate it.
Excellent. No problem, man.
Goes both ways.
So why don't you take a second and let everybody know how they can find you, how they can reach the business. And
Sure. I can be reached by email at chris.littlefield at brightstarcare.com. And our phone number of our business is 978-278-3320. And my business is Brightstar Care of Danvers and Woburn. We have 2 offices and serve from Burlington and Winchester all the way up to Rockport, Gloucester, and Newburyport. So we'd be happy to help.
All right. Well, Mr. Littlefield, thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
George, I'm honored. This is my first Zoom interview. I'm very, very honored to be invited. So thank you.
All right. Well, now I'll stop the recording and we can talk Celtics, which is really why I invited you to
all right.
Anyway.
We're done? No more recording?
We're good to go. All right. Thanks, Chris. Everybody out at IBN, everybody have a great day, and we will see you next week. Thanks.
All right. Awesome.